Hey guys, all right, we're back, yay. This is part two. I'm sorry I waited so long till I started streaming. I'm just blah. I have the ability now to start going over this document because the large majority of this document is just really big screenshots, and whoever made this document does not know how to what's it called? Layer or structure properly. So I'm pretty sure all in all this document is just really short. It's just the screenshots. So yeah. We were on page 5. Alright. Let me see if alright. Okay. So now obviously this is actually we did alright. Alright, let's read it. Alright. This one. Posts that include Mizuki is a girl, so use she, her as intended. Mizuki using they, them doesn't make any sense. Mizuki is a girl, and more along the lines of that are a normal thing now. A multitude of posts daily that claim women who use pronouns besides she, her pronouns are not really women would manage to get lots of likes within days or hours. That wasn't the norm. The few people who openly detested such ideas were labeled bigoted and hateful. And again, pronouns do not equal gender. You can advocate for whatever pronouns you want from Mizuki or you like. But involving Mizuki's gender as if it was tied to whatever pronouns they use or the pronouns you believe they should use is nonsensical and will always lead to an intense transphobia. And these are just examples I'm presuming. Notice how I say okay. I'm confused where they're going with this. I don't think I don't think I think whoever wrote this document was just kind of like confused because these people aren't saying that Mizuki is only a girl just because like they want she her pronouns to be used on them. I think they were just kind of saying like because like then by your logic literally everyone who was under the she her from Mizuki movement is transphobic within your own logic when it's really just people who want trans representation in a or yeah in a game that doesn't really show it. I don't think the people who make some of these posts have ill intent. With this one as well, like again like with this with like whoever wrote this document just has kind of brain dead logic. I'm sorry, but like what the fuck, it's just brain dead. I'm really confused here, like and the thing is too, like by your own logic whoever made the she her from Mizuki movement is also transphobic by your own logic. Like, I don't know. I just think that this was really unnecessary, especially since whoever made this document is not censoring usernames and it is contributing to a harassment campaign against these people. Especially since this document is just so like it's like really it's like there's like a lot of views written on here because of this. People who are using the she her from Mizuki tag aren't saying that they're not saying that like she like they're not saying that like she can't. They literally just, they don't want Mizuki to be seen as a quote-unquote femboy, because by all in all that is transphobic. Because, and I'm not really like too big on like Project Sekai, so I don't know much about this, but as far as I'm aware, Mizuki is like canonically trans femme. So, and people in the fandom are treating her as if she was a femme boy. And also, by this person's logic, whoever wrote this document, if you're gonna say everyone who uses this tag is transphobic, when you literally just said you can see Mizuki as for however she wants, you're quite literally enforcing a gender identity onto a fictional character. This is not a real character. You are enforcing problems onto a character where it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the character wants to be called. It doesn't matter if like the character doesn't want to be called by any other pronouns other than she, her. At the end of the day, that's what people who like this game are advocating for. They want trans feminine representation. That's all they're trying to do here. So the simple fact of like them trying to make the argument that like you can advocate for a pronouns you want, but then saying that it's only tied, but saying that gender does not tie to pronouns does not make any, like, it does make sense, but within this logical statement, it doesn't make any sense. Because at the end of the day, she, like, I'm trying to word this without sounding like disrespectful in a way. I'm just trying to say, at the end of the day, like, it's really all, it's like you're enforcing this kind of like, as someone who, okay, how do I break it down? As someone who is genderqueer and believes that gender does not equate to pronouns, because I do have a gender identity where it's a very complex kind of gender and it does not have to equate to certain pronouns that most people think it has to be. My gender does not like have to equate to my pronouns, and so does everyone else, right? Like anyone else who identifies as that kind of way. So I'm saying this as I'm speaking from like a place where I can relate to. This is just it. The points that this person is trying to make just does not make any sense, because you're trying to enforce gender does not equate to pronouns, yet you are shaming people whilst saying, like, shaming people who want trans feminine representation, whilst all around saying you can use whatever pronouns you want, when you're trying to incite a harassment campaign. So really, this point here that you're trying to make really does not make any sense, because You're throwing shit at people who want representation, yet at the same time, you're trying to enforce. You're really no better than the people who you're trying to make an argument against, is what I'm trying to say. You're no better because you're also just enforcing that same, thing that they're also enforcing. So you are against your own argument here. That's what I've been trying to say. I'm sorry, I'm really not good at words right now. But that's what I was trying to say. And I don't know, this is really confusing. People are under the false impression that they are protecting trans women by spouting such ideology, that they are protecting trans girl representation through thinly veiled, if not open and about transphobia. And you might mutter the bagel, is this really okay? You are bigoted beyond universes. Okay, you're saying it's transphobe. You're saying whoever wants. You're not okay. First of all, not every trans woman has to not go by she, her. And not every trans woman has to go by she, her. The point I'm trying to make is that they don't. You're literally just trying to enforce trans women representation in media where they have to not go by she, her pronouns. That's pretty fucking weird. The only one who's bigoted is you, man. The only one who's bigoted is you. Hold on. Let me try finding something. I'm sorry, this is just really pissing me off because whoever wrote this document is just really not smart. I'm sorry, like, this is just pissing me off so badly. Okay. Colorful palette net worth. Okay. The company behind Project Sekai, Colorful Palette, their net worth, they're literally worth they're a $15 million company. They are a $15 million company. Just keep that in mind. This is a $15 million company who does not care about representing their own characters, who does not care about actually showing real, like, trans women representation, because they make they make most of their characters not understand Mizuki, and then that follows up with Behind the Fandom, and they keep on constantly trying to make it seem as if Mizuki does not actually identify as a girl, which is harmful. And your entire argument is literally just that. Your entire argument is just that. So really, you're the one who's bigoted here because, again, you are trying to enforce gender roles and gender stereotypes. That is what you are trying to do. Because a trans woman does not exclusively not have to not use she, her. Like, they can use she, her if they would want to. But you can't just force them not to do that. And then dog on other people who want representation for that. For a character. Like, I know so many other better indie shows who show better trans representation and better queer representation. What are you talking about? Whether Rain encourages behavior or not is yet to be proven true or false, but judging from how openly the servers she owns allows blatant transphobia, such as denying the fact that NB people can face misgendering, to run amongst her server to play a role in figuring out her true values. Also, I'm really sorry. I am not trying to defend Rain at all. It's just these really stupid arguments that this stock maker is making is really pissing me off. Because again, they're just trying to enforce gender roles. They're not trying to actually make an argument here. And it's really frustrating because I can see where they're coming from, but they're not making any sense about it whatsoever. Okay, so this point is fucking ass. Like, the don't assume anything until Sega says so is a shitty fucking argument to make for a couple of reasons. One, Sega is a corporation. They want to make as much as they can possibly make. And in our day and age, transphobia is so normalized that oftentimes it is better for profits to exclude trans people entirely slash keep it vague enough to where it wouldn't impact profits nearly as much as if it were just spelled out in the story. Two, it's only an assumption if you like basic fucking media literacy. I'm sorry, no cis man slash non-binary person would react as devastated as Mizuki did in Mizu 5 to being called a man. Literally no one. Okay, harassment too. Also, I'm sorry, but where does this mention... Okay, oh, okay, I see this now. Okay. Yeah. I feel like at some point they were making sense here. They were making a genuine point here until that part, which makes no sense because like, I'm gonna just say this right here right now. Cisgender people, whether you like it or not, can still be misgendered. Misgendering does not only it doesn't always include trans people. Like, literally, if you are just being called or being referred to by pronouns or as a gender that you do not go by and you do not personally identify with, and someone is doing that within malicious intent, regardless if you're cis or not, that is misgendering. And it's still bad. I'm not saying it's as bad as transphobia. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying it's still misgendering. That's all I'm trying to say. Harassment. To say this movement had no negative... Well, negative. What the fuck is negative? To say this movement had no negative influence is to tell lies on lies. Okay, that would make sense. I mean, this is a whole thing. The initial claim was that she heard from... Sorry, let me actually highlight this. Was that she heard from Mizuki was for proper binary trans representation, as we've discussed before, but as the movement grows and evolves, so do the problems. I will reiterate this again. Mizuki is not uncomfortable with neutral terminology. Neutral terminology. Never was, and most likely never will be. It was never explicitly stated, nor simply applied. So using they, them pronouns exclusively on Mizuki is objectively no issue, no matter how much it comforts or annoys you. Which I do agree. But if you're going to make an argument like this, you need to show factual and substantial evidence. You need to show actual evidence for this if this is your claim. Because all I'm seeing so far is just you saying that people who want she, her pronouns to be used on Mizuki are bigots for some reason. Which is kind of crazy because if this person is not a trans woman themselves, they're speaking on behalf of trans women, and that is bigoted. That is kind of harmful because you're trying to, like I said, you're trying to enforce these gender roles onto a whole group of people. Like, it's just kind of an insensitive thing to do. That changed much too quick. People had began grouping those who used they them pronouns in Mizuki, whether exclusively more or more than she her, alongside those who are outright see Mizuki as a boy or use masculine terminology on Mizuki. Yes, that is true. That is true. I have seen a lot of people get dogged on for using they them on Mizuki when it's really just neutral terminology, and as this creator did say, Mizuki apparently has no problem with that, but they're not showing any evidence, so like I'll just take that with a grain of salt. But either way, yeah, I feel like a lot of these arguments lack a lot of evidence, which is really frustrating because this is supposed to be an exposed document. What the fuck are you doing? Others began calling for equal amounts of harassment for the two groups, and harassment there was. Threats of all kind were being sent towards those who didn't use she, her, and Mizuki exclusively or failing to fluctuate between they, she equally, in favor of they, them, and other neutral terminology. Many people began to receive threats involving. Oh, that's horrible. It had even gotten to the point where Mani, who was falsely accused of transphobia and lesbophobia due to their usage of they them exclusively in Mizuki, was sent CSEM links and images. These threats were given to various people, were never addressed by the primary creators of Shira from Mizuki. Also, sorry, just to pause, I don't know who Mani is. We have literally no context on who Mani is. And even then, the fact that you're mentioning this person is stirring up not only a lot of public, like, not only, like, are you possibly endangering this person by bringing them up again, but you are also risking their safety just by simply bringing them up. Like, we don't know if this person is still being sent threats to this day. Sorry, I'm speaking too fast. We don't know if this person's still being sent threats to this very day, and so therefore, bringing them up in a document where they are not involved in is just really dangerous. I don't know who Mani is, but like, can we maybe not do that? Can we just say, oh well, someone was sent you could have just used an anonymous like name or something. Like you could have said, oh, there's this person in the Project Sekai fandom did this and blah blah blah. Like that's literally all you could have said. I don't know. Oh, this is like really frustrating me. Some sometimes these incidents were even praised by them because they would believe that people being sent threats were open transphobes for disagreeing with the movement or using data on Mizuki exclusively, and thus deserved to receive such messages. Okay, there's no evidence. She heard from Mizuki had began to harass Japanese artists, but not the ones who genuinely believe Mizuki to be a boy, surprisingly. Yeah, I remember this. I would see a lot of proof, like a lot of like people just kind of freaking out over that, and I just thought that was so crazy. Artists, primarily Chinese slash Jap. Okay, well, grouping them as the same thing together is just really fucking weird. Did not have to do a little slash there, but okay. That's weird. Chinese and Japanese were being told to, or that they should be, if they didn't hyper feminize Mizuki in their works or emphasized Mizuki's identity to an obscene degree. This was and still is a weird new world they were forced onto. Most were open about acknowledging Mizuki as a mab and how it wasn't over a sensitive topic. So the sudden change had gradually been causing artists to have apologies constantly, sometimes for even past/older works. That's what's so weird to me, because if you're going to like do trans representation, the whole point, like literally the whole point of drawing is anatomy. If you're drawing a minor, for example, who is like a trans character, you're going to draw their body as the way it was when they were born the other sex. And I'm not saying in a like weird lewd way. I'm literally just saying if you're drawing a trans character, for example Mizuki, you're going to draw Mizuki with like with a smaller chest, because that's just how it is. That's just, especially if Mizuki is a trans femme like character, you're not going to be having like a top surgery where it's just you just have like you're like it. That's just not how it works. Like, I don't know how, like, it's just that's just not how it works. I don't know what else you want me to say, guys. That's just not how it works. And it would actually be pretty weird anyway to draw a minor with that who doesn't even have that in the first place. Because by that point, you're just sexualizing a trans character. You don't want actual you don't want actual trans representation. You're just a gooner. Like this, see, this is what I'm talking about though, the anatomy. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to draw a trans femme character, you're going to draw them with their original, with their, like, sorry, not original, that sounds weird, with, like, the gender that they were born as, or, like, at birth. I don't see anything wrong with this. This makes a lot of sense. But I do think this is like kind of where the issue starts, because that is you're drawing a trans feminine character, and so labeling them as a labeling them with like masculine terminology is pretty problematic. The meme the artist redrew was called Distracted Boyfriend. They were not calling Mizuki a boy anywhere in this picture. But either way, there is also another meme. Hold on, let me try finding it. Where I think it's like the other way around. Yeah, okay, there's like a whole different like meme. Like, there's a whole different meme for this too. Hold me, I pulled the picture right now. So there's like really no excuse, because at the end of the day, there's another meme for this. This is literally a parody. They still could have said girl. They still could have used female terminology. sorry, feminine terminology. They still could have used feminine terminology because there is a parody to the original meme. That's no excuse. Even then, it still does feel pretty disrespectful. So, I don't know, but whatever. Anyway. They must not have been aware, plus little addition, the artist here is a minor. So they could be as young as 13, and the harassment they are receiving is quite brutal, such as death threats. This obviously makes things worse on the she-her Mizuki warrior's case. Mind you, zero evidence that this artist is potentially a minor. Let me go on their profile real quick. Let me see if, like, maybe they're still on there or not. I don't know. As Umame. Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, it says on their profile that they're under 18. So that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, again, the person who's making this document, they need to show actual substantial evidence, because people are just going to be really confused, and they're not going to take everything here as facts. Yeah, this is weird. This is very weird. This is weird. The artist was pointing out the difference between AFAB versus AMAB, and that between Enna and Mizuki in their personal art style. It was not in bad faith, and it was just something they thought up. Which makes a lot of sense. Again, that's just anatomy. That is literally just anatomy. That makes a lot of sense. User later on accuses the artist of being openly and proudly transphobic. This caused the artist to delete the artwork and apologize for something they did not understand was apparently quote-unquote wrong. I'm so confused. I don't know if this is gonna sound like really mean or anything, but like it doesn't make any sense to me how if you are also a trans female and you see if you see someone making trans female anatomy, you're going to call it as transphobia when that's literally just anatomy. I'm confused. That's trans women representation. That's what you guys want. That's literally what everyone else who is in the movement wants. I'm so confused. This did not work, however, and artists continued to be harassed for some time. I don't like, again, correct me if that sounds bigoted, maybe? I'm just really confused. What the fuck? I didn't mean to be racist. I just wanted to tell you that I love you no matter what body you have. I'm sorry I didn't come across well and made you uncomfortable. Transphobic, not racist. I really doubt that. What did you say? Wow, you guys can't do anything. You guys can't accept anything. An apology. Holy shit. First, like to be all accepted because the person's a funny piece of shit. Wow. You guys are assholes, bro. You guys are actual assholes. This confirms the she-her for Mizuki cannot identify transphobia from their mild annoyance. None of the victims of harassment were genuinely transphobic, and the ones who are openly or subtly haven't been touched. You know what? I think this, like, whole fucking movement is just a cult. Because what the fuck am I looking at? Like, what? The misconceptions. As written before, there have been numerous counts of transphobia within the movement and its top supporters. But what about addressing it? All the girl equals she, her posts, Lane's own transphobia, the harassment towards those who use neutral terminology in Mizuki. At what point did Shiger from Mizuki address and clear up the misconceptions and issues? In summary, never. Because they were evidently there were evidently no misconceptions at all. Everything written prior was the same fact for Shiger Mizuki, up until it wasn't. When we had joined the official Shiger Mizuki server to further question the ethics of the movement, we knew openly criticizing the movement abruptly was no way to approach and would inevitably be deemed transphobic. Basically walking on thin ice the entire time. So we lingered on the server for a while as we created a new mini document in which the views and concerns and opinions of us and others were listed. But before we could finish the document and send it as a suggestion, a friend of ours had her devices taken away for some time. She was the only one who had access to the document at the time, jotting down our suggestions and questions on it, so we were left with no choice but to confront the situation without her. Y'all can I fucking wait? Damn. So she was like grounded for a year before we could finish. Oh wait, sorry, my fault. I'm reading this wrong paragraph. We had dropped our suggestions swiftly, and as expected, the server did not take them well as we hoped, but they still managed to be decent people about it. Another friend had joined in later to aid us in our explanations and try to help the mods see eye to eye with us. Within this conversation, we questioned the entire movement as a first thought. Hold on. Just real quick. Okay. Sorry. Alright, I'm back. We had dropped our suggestions swiftly, and as expected, the server did not take them well as we hoped, but they still managed to be decent people about it. Another friend had joined in later to aid us with our explanations and try to help the mods see eye to eye with us. Within this conversation, we questioned the entire movement as a first thought, trying to understand if it was all truly misunderstanding and that they do not intend or agree with the movement that was heading. As a response, we were told the movement had no room for critique, claiming that any and all subjections were transphobia and it was set in stone. A friend of ours argued on further topic, and my back is so itchy. I'm just like itching from the back of my back. It's so ow. Okay. A friend of ours argued further on a topic, and the vehement transphobia behind the movement, and whether it was intentional or not. And that was when we got a change of answers. At the accusations of transphobia, movement turned from she/her exclusively to she/they is okay, but use she/her more. Mods claim that this was the initial message all along, which makes no sense. The intentions behind the movement tends to fluctuate between definitions to better fit arguments, but there is genuinely no leading evidence to say that they were okay with she/they all along. True. All the people that had been harassed, all the stereotypes being perpetuated had how they had never been bothered to take initiative and address the blatant transphobia until someone called them out on it. There was genuinely no room to say she from Mizuki was really in fact she/they from Mizuki. That's true, because the entire time they wanted it to be she/they. I mean she/her. It's my fault. Let me try doing something real quick. Hold on. I'm trying to think of something. Sorry guys, I'm trying to find something. Alright, my fault guys, I'm back. Alright. Let's try to check something. Cause I just got like I thought about something. Okay, so we had called quits and pretended that to understand the situation as if we'd agreed, deeming communication as impossible, and frankly, it was. The hosts behind the movement believe that they are exempt for critique because they themselves are trans and believe just their identities make them the perfect candidates for leading the movement, or that any disagreements is rooted in proud transphobia. Wrong people are doing it, and the three people who planned it are an NB, a trans woman, and a trans man. If they consider that to be wrong people, I really don't know who the right wrong people. I really don't know who the right people. What the fuck? Okay, the wrong people are doing it, and the three people who first planned it are an NB, a trans woman, and a trans man. If they consider that to be wrong people, if they consider that to be the wrong people, I really don't know who the right people are. Okay, I get it now. Honestly, if you have a non-binary person working in this movement and leading up with it, I think that says a lot about your document because you are in fact speaking up for non-binary people and trans women in general. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Let me read this real quick. And then we can see the full screenshots. Because I am curious. We had made them aware of the issues and troubles and asked what's next in reference to what they should do about it. In return, we were told that there was no room for improvement and the movement was okay as it was. This confirms that the issues listed prior and the issues that are listed were intentional, and this could further imply that behavior was encouraged. Okay, let me see the conversations. Okay, the original post got deleted, but there's like a whole thing. Okay, oh wow, okay, let's see the whole thing. Let's see this. Okay, I don't know how else to make my screen bigger. I'm just gonna move her right here. Ah! Alright. This is not the first original screenshot, so I don't know which one is, but yeah. Fault. I'm covering the screen. Wait, okay. Oops. That was an accident. Anyway. Alright, you guys can see. So it's just for the story to make sense is what I'm assuming. If it is that way, then what I'm saying can be explained more clearly. I feel as though the execution is poor because it implies that people who don't use she, her exclusively on Mizuki is transphobic and thus deserve harassment. It's happened to a few of my friends so far and I don't wish for it to repeat. If she, her is just a way for the story and we as players can do whatever we want, then I don't think using she, her or other non-masculine pronouns in reference to Mizuki should be an issue. Okay, these are like all poorly cropped and it's really hard to understand these. Okay, I see it now, okay. She, her from Mizuki has always been specifically for the story, yeah. I personally don't use fancy usage of she, they. And wouldn't really read fics and whatnot, which do that. But I don't take any issue with someone headcanoning her as anything under the transform umbrella or using she, they slash neos for her as long as they don't use exclusively they, them, or denying that she is canonically a binary trans girl. A binary trans girl. What is that? I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me search that up. 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 Binary trans girl. Okay. So I see this right now. I'm not sure if this was their intention, but this literally says right here. Oh, whoops. Is a trans woman who identifies within the traditional male slash female gender binary. And she identifies with one of the two traditional genders, male or female. Okay. I'm confused. Wait, what? I don't know why they keep using terms such as binary trans. Because I feel like gender is a lot more complicated than that. But okay. So it's just for a story to make sense of what I'm assuming. Okay. These are a lot of screenshots. I don't know if we can get through all these because this is a long ride. And honestly, it's just really stupid. Not the argument, sorry, but like just the just like the amount of screenshots because that's ridiculous and there's no origin of the argument, so we don't know who started what and what caused what and what to happen. So, target harassment. Within the server, Monty had been a reoccurring but short-lived topic, most of which were just Rain or others telling them to die or just calling them transphobic in general. Now, we usually don't care, but as a group can identify transphobia from minor annoyances, so we believed Monty was being singled out so many times at random due to annoying them, Rain primarily and such. Also, I just want to say something. I don't know that much about what I don't know what binary trans female is, because at the end of the day, if you were born as a male from birth and you identify as a girl, you identify as a girl. You don't just identify as like you don't just the moment when you just identify as a girl, you don't instantly turn as a girl with a female anatomy. That's just not how it works. Does that make? I don't know if I sound bigoted or not. I'm just saying, like, using terms such as binary trans something, insert, like, use it like using word, like, okay, using terms such as binary trans woman or binary trans man makes no sense, because at the end of the day, if you identify as a, for example, a trans man and you are female at birth, you're not going to instantly have a girl anatomy, is what I'm trying to say. You're not going to it's just something you feel. It's just something that you feel within you. It's not anything different from the sort. It's like, I mean, if you want to feel like you can connect with your identity more, like, I'm not saying you can and can't dress a certain way, or like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like you can't like get surgery or anything like that, but like, I'm literally just saying like that, like, using terminology like that makes no sense, because at the end of the day, you're not going to instantly turn as you're not in like if you are never mind. But you guys get what I'm trying to say though. I'm not trying to, like, as a trans person myself, unfortunately that's just how it is. Unfortunately, that is just how it is. I know, like, the universe does suck, but like that's just how it is. It has come to our attention that Mani and their friends were being targeted, and they were actively telling other server members Mani was transphobic for no reason, even going as far as to say the false transphobic allegations Mani received from some time ago is valid, despite knowing these allegations were false for the wait, were the reason Mani has been sent CSEM. Okay. Now this recently set off alarms, so we looked further into the server, only to find that Rain had begun comparing Monty and some others to people like Adolf, Epstein, and the Triple Ks. That's crazy. Anyone associated? I don't know who the fuck is Monty. Who is Monty? I think Monty needs her own fucking section in this. Who is Monty? Anyone associated with Monty was unfairly deemed as a target as well. A few friends of Monty who genuinely had nothing to do with the drama surrounding Shihiro from Mizuki were harassed, whether by the server or members in the movement is unknown. One of these friends were even exposed and liked about to a server with over 1,000 members, ruining their friendships and good terms they had with people over associating with anyone who questioned her from Mizuki, instead earning harassment they did not deserve. This deeply upset us, and it should not be any normal person. Hold on, be right back, guys. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was looking at something. Alright. Alright, okay. But anyone associated with Mani was unfairly deemed as a target as well. A few friends of Mani who genuinely had nothing to do with drama surrounding Shikha for Mizuki were harassed, whether by the server or by others in the movement is unknown. One of these friends who were even exposed and lied to a server with over 1,000 members, ruining their friendships and the good terms they had with people over associating with anyone who questioned Shiga from Mizuki, instead earning harassment they did not deserve. Make sure my mic is on. Okay, it is. These jokes included calling Epstein? Is it really Epstein or Epstein? That's what I'm thinking about. A blah 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 con. Your stand on fiction doesn't matter. It's common sense to just not joke about a real child and claiming, sorry, real child assaulter and claiming he was just into certain fiction. Calling Monty a pedophile and comparing them to Epstein/EDP, claiming that the she/her for Mizuki fans claiming that the she/her for Mizuki antis who are not transphobes and are just concerned people were pro Adolf and a part of the Triple K. Monty was reasonably discomforted by this too. I won't go into detail, but you can somewhat imagine what it's like to be a CSA victim and hear people openly joke about CSA or other things related to it. What am I looking at? I'm confused what's happening. Who was Monty? Which one's Monty? You gotta like clarify who you're talking about, dude. I'm like so confused right now. Oh my gosh, not Ryu Casa. Bro, not Ryu Casapop, bro. Nah. Why is he being mentioned? And I'm not hitting on him or anything. I'm just like this is just so random because oh my gosh, I remember I would not stop hearing about the fucking drama. It was insane. Twitter was going wild, bro. Twitter had a field trip. Twitter had a field trip that day, bro. What is SHFM? Are you sure that's the fucking closing statement? There's like 20 other fucking pages here. Closing statement. We will repeat this again. This document was not made with ill intent, which I mean, it's kind of hard to believe. We had initially opted to explain how the movement can be improved, but many agree that it should be stopped entirely and recreated in a way that does not center personal feelings over objective fact by better people and by better standards. You made this whole doc you made this whole document to call Rain a bigot. That is within malicious and ill intent. You made this with the intention to be ill. Within intent. That's how I don't think you guys understand how this works. You guys are just using words just to use words and sound fucking smart about it. You really don't know what you guys are doing at the end of the day. It's good that they did try to talk to them, the people about this before, but that's just kind of crazy. Like, this is just insane, low-key. Rain and her people are aware that her movement is incredibly disorganized and that her need for Mizuki using she/her comes from projection and want of control rather than genuine concern, but will not address it further. They, as a group, have constantly ignored those who want to help make it better and thus have proved they will not change and are not willing to change. Oh wow, okay, so this is a really old document. Wow. Recently there's been some new drama surrounding Shiho for Mizuki, Rainstorm, primarily. Rain had made a post subtweeting about someone claiming said user was actively okay with denying Mizuki's trans identity. Oh yeah, so they addressed the situation, that's good. Later on, it's revealed that the user she was talking about was an ex-friend of theirs, Dazai. Dazai. Now, Dazai has made various posts on Mizuki's trans identity. Some were informative threads, and others were answering questions about Mizuki's identity. All were in good faith and actively encouraged others to see Mizuki as a trans girl and not a boy or anything else. There were no reason to claim Dazai had suddenly switched up and denied Mizuki as a trans girl. Rain's initial tweet had neared 1,000 likes and so many people seeing it and taking Rain false accusations. Damage was being done to Dazai's image for no reason. Dazai responded swiftly, calling out Rain on her lies. Yeah, we went over this in part 1, so I'm just kind of skipping through, but oh, okay, this is new. We finally get to meet this Mani person. Hey, so publicly spreading a lie that I deny Mizuki's transness and am a closeted transphobe to start a harassment campaign against me, although pretending to be reasonable with me and direct messages about it is not cool. As people began hearing Dazai's side of the story and realizing how Rain was lying about them due to, at the time, unknown reasons, Rain went private for some time and she made a thread explaining herself and her accusations. Do you have a fucking archive? Like, why are you writing this? It soon revealed that Rain had made these accusations on the assumption that Dazai was associated with Mani or Mani's friend. Oh wow, what? And that Rain and her crew had been continuously posturing Dazai and said association for quite a bit. Before her thread, though, Rain had continued to push on with her lies about Dazai. Wait, but then, okay, I've seen Dazai's profile. They have 7K. So wouldn't they really be talking about, Mani then? That would make the most sense. It's soon revealed that Rain had made, yeah. Okay. Before her thread, though, Rain had continued to push on with her lies about Dazai. I'm gonna call him D, bro. I'm gonna continue with that because this is actually pissing me off. Claiming he's still associated with them, as well as insinuating that D had sent his own feeling had sent his own following to harass Rain, which he had not done. Basically throwing a hissy fit, because she realized she isn't actually allowed to lie about people. She isn't allowed to actually lie about people and get away with it. Blah. Okay. Marnie later on angrily confirms that D is in no way associated with them, claiming that Marnie and her friends, had only spoken together regarding the time they argued with the She/Her from Mizuki creators. D had heard Marnie and their friends' concerns and gave them unbiased advice and critique, and hadn't spoke with D since then. Huh. Marnie's response. At the time of Rain has deactivated her account entirely. Is Marnie black? Like, oh my god. Sorry, Sorry, I don't like the way they type. I don't like it. No hate to this person. I just don't like the way they type. We're not friends with D. We had like 3 interactions tops and explained to D our side of the story because you weren't listening and continuously called a transphobic to avoid conversation on your wrongs. Okay, fair. And when we did get that convo, you switched stories so much, I genuinely cannot remember what your initial take was. You take any critique as transphobia. Me and my friends don't care if you think we're transphobes, that's just you being you. But this time you really had no reason to start calling D transphobic / guilty by association because we talked to him like twice. Shut up and deactivate, you pissed me off so bad. Again, Monty confirms that them and their friends have no current relation to D and haven't spoken for a while. Rain and her clique are so annoying. We had nothing to do with D, so using us as a scapegoat just to call someone you disagree with the whole trans was just so... It's just so like her, I don't give a fuck. Oh, D didn't block you guys and dox you, so we rip out your tests instead of finding out your houses. That must mean you're best friends. Shut the fuck up, that's crazy. Rain's response and apologies thread for anyone wondering. Okay, now you show it. Okay, this is the archive. Okay. Thank you. Defense and apology. For those who don't know, I recently got into some drama with Dazai Chu. Before I say anything, please do not harass or attack him. I don't want anyone else to go through with this. Sorry, I'm like obsessed with my cursor. I posted while going through a mood swing and half asleep. No, not using as an excuse. Using explanation, I'll get into it later, that there was a secret trans-obsessed Mizuki trans Nair that a lot of my neutrals followed. As well as this, that person was one of the main people behind a movement, anti-SHFM, that is being led by pro-shippers, and other bad people. Every time we would remind him, he would only soft block that person, and he would eventually refollow. After an incident where one of my friends banned him for asking everyone else, we removed. You can't just tell us he made a movement about something and then not tell us what it fucking stands for, because this is really fucking annoying. From his bio and extended bio. He didn't rejoin, understandably so. I have diagnosed hypersomnia and several mental disorders that cause me to experience mood swings and can cause me to get very irritated when I'm tired. You should not be online. You shouldn't be online. You should not be online. And you should not have a fucking Twitter account. During these, I can be really reckless and have clouded judgment or say things I don't mean. You should not be on Twitter. You should not be on Twitter. You should not have a fucking Twitter account. On top of this, my mood swings have been getting worse and worse due to my declining mental health. Again, not used as an excuse, but as an explanation. I should have worded what I said better or just should have posted at all. I've had a history with D that has led us to grow distant, and it eventually com- culminated culminated into this. It is old drama from months ago, and it's not gonna get. And I'm not going to be dead. What the fuck? Okay, it is old drama from months ago, and I'm not going to be a dead horse. All I will explain is that he was in a group of friends, including me, where we told him numerous times he was following someone that had actively degendered me, and is a transphobe. Okay, this part just kind of cut out. As well as this, that person was one of the main people behind the movement. I only told a very selective group of people, then fell asleep while scrolling. Again, I have hypersomnia. I woke up to over 100 replies and my friend telling a good portion of people. After on and off falling asleep and waking up, which during hours when I was awake, I was trying to address my concerns and I decided I wasn't going to tell anyone else. I felt like even if my concern was justified and it made me suspicious of him, I shouldn't have accused him as such. After he blocked me and made the post, I had an anxiety attack due to a mix of panic and anxiety until I clocked into work, which caused that second which caused that second set of posts. Huh. That's okay. That makes sense. I mean, like, you still should not be on the internet though. I feel like there's a lot more responsibility that Rain should take, but like at least they're taking accountability. At least they're taking accountability at final, but like I feel like that's just too late because they're only doing it now because they got called out. They got called out for their horrible actions, and they didn't stop until sooner, and they didn't drop the movement. They didn't give the movement to anyone else, and I just feel that's just so irresponsible. What they did was really irresponsible, honestly, and it's honestly just very immature. Very immature. Sorry. Um, that is my complete explanation. I'm very sorry to everyone who got caught in the crossfire, and I am very sorry to Dee especially. I do not expect everyone to immediately forgive me for my grave mistake, but I do ask for your forgiveness and understanding if you are willing. I do not want anyone to get harassed, and in that original post, I just genuinely forgot how many followers he had. I'm working with my therapist to improve my hostility during and not during my mood swings, and when I'm very tired. I am and have been trying to get help. I have been taking medication as of recent that has been helping with my temper and hostility towards people I'm close to. But I still have a lot to unpackage with my therapist when it comes to arguments and people I dislike. Okay. So that was it. Um, okay, that was actually not what I was expecting. I was not expecting the whole archive because I've been looking for that. So thank Lord someone screenshotted it. I'm just like really. Oh, my back hurts. Yeah. This is just um yeah, that's bad. I'm gonna try and find the document on Okay. This is what everyone's kind of just saying. Oh wait, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. All right, bye guys. Be right back. Be right back. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Hey. Alright, I'm gonna make this quick. And I end the stream. It was my fault. Alright. Um. This feels so, satire for no reason? What the fuck? This girl's, I can't mock it, but like, it just feels so satire. It's unreal. Yeah, I fucking knew there was something up with this campaign. I read the thread. I'm not sure what the whole movement anymore, especially when seeing who it's run by. Please read this. Also has harassing people, even accusing others of false things. I wait for this moment. Don't they have a whole document on their ass? Shea from Mizuki having a worse reputation than Saki7 Twitter was not on my Twitter bingo list. Finally, I low-key dislike the Shea from Mizuki shit because it reinforces men are he, him only, women are she, her only, and NBs are they, them only. Huh. Yeah, wow, that was kind of crazy. Huh. Also the fact that she's sexist. Literally, she told me naturally you'll treat someone differently if you know they're a male birth / AFAB. Like, no, dude, I naturally won't do that. What the fuck have you been doing, Rain? Naturally, does she know sexism isn't instinctual to us? It's crazy. No, because like, what the fuck does that even mean, bruh? I love this. To add to this, the document genuinely made my jaw drop, and not in a good way. Why would it be? As a female to male person who uses he, they, and other less conventional pronouns, I understand why she, her from Mizuki started, because since in her story she wants to be treated as a normal cis girl, and the they, them pronouns have led to a lot of misinterpretations of Mizuki. But I'm removing that tag from my bio. Okay. Also, I never liked Rain due to her harassing someone who made an analysis thread that said whether you see Mizuki as a girl or as non-binary. The thread never said anything about seeing Mizuki as a boy, nor did it ever use he, him, and it exclusively used she, her. Plus, Mizuki can use she, they. The only time someone 100% misgendering Mizuki is if they use he, him, and or say Mizuki is a boy. Agreed. Wow. That is insane. Huh. Yeah, this document caused divorces and breakups. Families were broken apart into pieces after this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of this, document. And wow, I really hope there's gonna be new updates about this or something, because that was genuinely insane. I hope the situation gets better, honestly. But this honestly just seemed insane and wicked to me. Like, that is just crazy. Anyway, Alright, bye guys. I'll see you in the next stream.